Is it live? Here we go. Good morning, my fellow owner operators. How you doing? It is Christian with Voyager Super Trucker Podcast, bringing content to you 9 a.m. What we do is gather multi questions across our multi social media platform and address them all at 9 a.m. So give me 1 second, my people here, just getting everything live. Good morning. It is Christian once again with owner operators information. That's what we do. We give that to our people on this channel, especially my first time owner operators. So if you are actually out there thinking about purchasing a truck and jumping into becoming an owner operator, this is the place for you. Plenty of content, plenty of useful information. Check it out. Super Trucker Podcast. Make sure you subscribe and please smash that like button. All right, so today is Monday, so hopefully everybody is getting a jump start to their week. If things went accordingly, you should have had your load on Friday for your Monday morning dispatch, getting out of Dodge and starting off your week so that you can meet your financial goals on a weekly basis. That is why we show up. That is why we make it happen, and that is why we do what we do. All right, so a few questions. It appears that a lot of the questions that are coming across the table in the last few couple of weeks, it appears that a lot of owner operators are looking to jump into the game. I know you guys know we keep an eye on the inventory over at Lone Mountain. Kind of tells me who's buying, who's not, and kind of looking away to see that screen. So inventory has been dropping. A lot of their international LTs are down to three. So they got those, and they got 22s as well, down to 15. So guys, if you are looking, make sure that you check them out. It might just work out for you. Again, we're not paid by anybody. However, it is a good resource for those who need it. Very low barrier to entry, anywhere from 6 to 5,000 down. They do have some day cabs. Looks like 2,500 down, guys. I don't know about that. Just be cautious. We've always we talked about it on the show. I'm sure you can find it on. We can make a separate video about that. Is that a good idea? Make sure you plan accordingly. Which brings us to today's topic. It's actually having a plan as a first-time owner operator in order to be successful, right? So. A lot of times there could be confusion that comes along the line with getting everything started because it is a lot. Test one, two. Test one, two. Test one, two. I think you can hear me now. So hopefully you can. Test one, two. Matt, can you hear me? Mike, can you hear me? All right, here we go. We're back in the game. I just can't touch this microphone. I guess I must have broke it. So again, guys, it is Monday. Hopefully you are working on you already out of Dodge. You have been dispatched since Friday. That's how we do it here. So hopefully you are in that situation. Thank you, Melvin, for the heads up. Appreciate it. Thank you, Lucas. Thank you, Mike. Goes a long way. Thank you, guys. All right, so getting back to it, leasing on, right? What is the plan for my very first time owner operators? There is a lot of content that is out there floating around, and what can you trust? What do you, who do you listen to? That shit can become overwhelming really, really quick. So that's what we're here to talk about. All right, so you want to find individuals saying, he wants to find a carrier that is fair, transparent, not one that eats up all the money and deductions, right? So how do you get to understand this, and how do you get the answer to this, right? Because if they are going to eat you up in hidden deductions, obviously their recruiting tactics are probably deceitful, and how are you really going to know? So one of the tools that you can do is, right, do your homework, right? And what I mean by that is you're going to be asking all the right questions, the direct questions, that are going to force the truth to come out. So and it's how we do our business practice as well. So one of the things is, we'll start with the money, obviously, and the deductions and transparency. The number one question you should be asking is, can I see the settlement before I sign? All right. So the reason you want to be seeing those settlement statements before you actually sign is because any good carrier is not going to hesitate to show you this at all. So they're going to show you. It tells you that is going to tell you on there what's deducted from the pay directly, what's happening currently. So yes, some guys have plates, some guys don't. So there are a few things that may vary depending on your situation, but there should be no hesitation into showing you those settlement sheets. All right, and why these plans are so important is it's the success of your business. So actually, as I got to thinking about this, some of our most successful first time owner operators have actually worked out their plans, and we have had these conversations up front and knocked these things out of the box before they actually took the first load. As a matter of fact, before they actually even got the truck. And the reason behind that is going to clear up a lot of gray area. So now the focus is going to be in becoming successful. I do remember one of them that sticks out. It's because, listen, not everybody knows everything. This is a work in progress for across the board. I actually, this story comes to mind because I'm not gonna lie. At first, I didn't agree with the business plan that these guys were coming up with. So I'll share the story. I actually had two individuals purchased one truck, um, kind of a 50-50 type thing. And what it was is, they spent some money, who knows, 10, 15 G's, somewhere along the lines. I'm getting this truck ready to rock and roll, doing some repairs to it. And then they were going to ride teams. And after some time, they're going to split or save money, right? Save money and buy another truck, and then split. And then everybody goes on their own. So part of that is because in theory sounds kind of maybe if they're friends and whatnot, but the problem is you have to be careful because they had enough startup cap. So number one, you got to be careful because, like, who's the real owner of that truck, right? That's number one. Number two, who pays for the maintenance? Who pays for the repairs? What happens during downtime? Is one guy expecting a paycheck, knowing that the business is down? And so that is the biggest questions you have to ask yourself. Does this actually make sense, right? So obviously I was like, nah, man, I actually think you have enough startup capital, guys, to buy a different type of truck. However, like, like even for example, right here, Lone Mountain, right? 6,000, 5,000 down, bada bing. What you could have each done is buy your own truck and everybody starts their own journey, less chiefs, and then you're in control, right? So that is one of the bigger things. I'll let you know exactly how they made out. But leading into the next question, what exact deductions, right, come out of each statement? And that's the beauty. So we're getting back to the questions, right? So when you want to know what exact deductions come out of those settlements, you don't really just want to talk to the recruiter. You want to trust but verify. So part of that major question is, you want to see that sample settlement because it's going to give you the clarity as far as, is it insurance, ELD, is there a trailer rental fee, permits, tolls, everything that comes along with trucking. is going to be on that deduction, right? Even probably some lumpers, some reimbursement on some lumpers. You might even catch a few with some um, detention time on there. And so the beauty about that is you're making a real assessment based off of these things. And then that's the beauty about the conversation with the teams that we were just talking about. We had all of this combo up front, right? Because it's even on that. My question is, who's paying the toll, right? What's your guys' business plan? Who is responsible? Are you guys splitting the money after expenses? Are you splitting it before? What is the business plan on that type of model? All right. And then how is fuel charged and discounted? So that's another key factor to what you want to know ahead of time, right? You want to know about the cash flow to your business and how it's going to impact the bottom line. So, for example, some carriers pass along, full fuel discount. I know we do that, and then others don't. So, I mean, others keep a part of it. So, you want to know all of that up front. So, you want to be able to ask, do they have the apps? Do they not? How do you know what fuel stations to use? Are you limited to only one? Are there plenty inside of a network? What happens if you go out of network? How does it affect you and your bottom line? Are your guys doing that? So all of these things are things that you should be planning ahead of time. So when that you do take your first load, my people, you already know what time it is. You're actually already heading out there with a business plan. All you got to do is actually just stick to the plan to be successful. All right. And then you want to know, are there any weekly hidden fees such as admin, dispatch? What about the insurance? What about maintenance? Everything that you should be paying attention to that settlement sheet, right? These things add up really fast. And I think that's what people tend to underestimate. And not necessarily are they hidden, right? It's not so much that it's understanding what the costs are to do business, right? So if you're an individual that is buying for the truck for the very first time, remember a lot of your responsibilities are now changing. So things that you weren't responsible for actually become your responsibility. And so not that it comes from this place of hiding it, but now you're responsible. So it's kind of different, right? So in this business plan that you should be sitting down with that recruiter, we got a recruiter on standby. So it's 863-342-5171. Give her a call. So this is the place that you're discussing all of these options, right? As we do as we sit with our first time owner operators and we discuss, all the costs that come along with doing business. And this is the place where you want to decide how you're going to slice it and dice it. Because that's the beauty about becoming that owner operator and you're leasing onto a carrier. You get this tremendous opportunity to be able to actually shift a couple of liabilities off of you and keep some. So keep the ones you're good at, possibly, right? And the ones that you're not so great at, make sure you take those off of you. But the key to this is actually ensuring that you are leased to the right people. That choice is what's going to make or break your plan. All right. So pay attention to that. You got to know what type of costs come along with becoming an owner operator, and so linking up with a carrier just like Voyager Nation. It's a team that has the time to actually sit with you, come up with that plan. That's why we have an open door policy. Guys, stop on by 9 to 4. You get to meet everybody in the team. Just ask for it. You can meet, billing department. You can meet dispatcher, operations, maintenance. We're all here to actually work with you in order for you to be successful. All right. Uh, all right. So one of the things too is, how soon do I get a detailed breakdown of each load, right? If so here's how it is. You should always communicate accordingly with your dispatcher. That relationship is going to be the most important piece of the puzzle, right? One of the most important pieces of the puzzle. We talk about this all the time across our multimedia platforms, guys. And talking about that, make sure you like, share, subscribe. Let us get the thumbs up. It helps the algorithm get this content, pushed in front of the right people. So if you could do that, help a brother out and smash that like button. Okay. So You're working with your dispatcher here. You're getting the original Raycon. You're getting to, you're working with that dispatcher in order to accept that load or not to accept that load. Because you're talking about a plan. It doesn't mean they're just looking for loads until you say yes. Now we're going to talk about that. Why didn't you take that one load? What's wrong with that? What is in your mind? Remember our goals when we spoke in orientation. Remember what we came for. So you're discussing all of those topics. And it's actually you're working your plan. You're massaging through that. That's how that works. It's not that they're just looking for magical loads that don't work. So going back to my teams, this is where we felt the beginning of the pain, right? Because one guy has one idea on how to run a business and another guy has a different idea, right? But if you're 50-50 on the business, who's making the call, right? And so this is where it can fall apart. Everything is meant well, right? There's intent to be productive, there's intent to be successful, there's intent to make money, there's intent to work with a dispatcher. Just listen to me, brother. But now think about it. That dispatcher is trying to work between two parents, so to speak, man. It just gets into this ugly place to do business. And ultimately, what's going to suffer is your bottom line. So no plan, no miles, no money. That's what this bad boy is about, right? And no one here is talking bad about this plan or talking bad about the situation, guys. Remember, this show is about sharing content, sharing experiences that our guys have actually gone through, because the importance of that is that we learn from these mistakes and we don't end up making them again. Your business actually depends on that, right? So pay attention. That was kind of the beginning of the end of this relationship. So if I had to let uh, give away the ending a little bit, this is kind of where it's going, right? But there is a habit, there is a silver lining to this story, so it ends up pretty good. So you want to stick around for the end on how this actually worked out and how it got fixed. All right. uh, so no, it says so super trucker, I don't know, I'm showing live public. I'm not sure what the situation is. All right, so here we go, guys. Loads axis. Okay, so do I get to see the rate confirmations for my loads? Yes, absolutely. Here you do. All right, but if not, if they're telling you you do not, they could be skimming off the top right away. That's a red flag for anybody and anywhere you're operating. You should have that transparency from the door. Just answering the comment, it says slow connection. Not sure what that's about, but here we go, guys. Do I choose my own loads or does dispatch assign them? Freedom to pick your own loads, more control over your income. However, guys, tread lightly, because if you've never done it right, it doesn't mean that you're proficient at it. And if you're not proficient at it, it means that it's going to cost you money. So you got to lean on the individuals that know and how to move, how to book the loads, how to, and everything that comes along with booking a load, meaning, you're checking credit on these guys, especially in these days, man. They got credit in the morning and then they got no credit in the afternoon. So, you're definitely looking at those type of things. You're looking at the Raycons, reading through them. How predatory are they? What needs to get removed? What can kind of stay, right? Everything must be in writing. So even if you negotiate a new delivery time, even if you negotiate a little bit more money for XYZ detention or anything of that nature, guys, you have to be consistent and make sure that everything is in writing, or you guessed it, it never happened. Don't expect that money. You will be underpaid. So treat it that way, guys. Right. So so in choosing to use loads, that's probably that was probably one of the tougher parts for these individuals to come to an agreement, because again, we're not all built equal, and then also the miles that we can actually cover vary from person to person. Some people run 4, 5, 6, 700 miles. It just depends on who's driving that truck. And it doesn't mean that anyone in particular is more successful than the other. I'm just trying to say that if you got two people moving in a, in one truck, and one is doing 60%, 70% of the miles, then when it comes down to payday, how you going to just 50-50 that, right? So pay attention to that, right? Guys, make sure you like, share, subscribe, smash that like button. It helps the algorithm get this content in front of the right people. um, okay, we got Lucas with a question here. What would be the best place to live if I want to be home every weekend and make the most money? Um, I would say it could be tricky because again, everything is a moving target. It's not like one place is always great all the time. A lot of factors come into that. Transportation is that. I guess what we are referring to, my people, is the historically leaving Florida doesn't pay. So I guess it would be not that. But Colorado don't pay leaving either, and nor does Nevada. So I would say those are not the places to be. I wouldn't touch California, and I would not touch Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan. But other than that, on this, it's seasonalities that change. It's always a moving target. What I would say is before any one individual makes a move for something like that is to calculate, right? This is the perfect part, Lucas. We've had transplants come to this Florida market from Jersey, specifically from that Northeast, and then you're right, it's a bucket of cold water. But here we go: Cincinnati, Chicago, Indy, Kansas City, major city, Midwest. Not thinking romantic. So there you go, my man. Just not that Florida. But again, that's a perfect question. That's what this is: having a plan accordingly. Because what's going to happen is the following: if you don't ask these type of questions and you're not planning accordingly, to kind of get off topic, I've had people start here, in this Florida market, and it's actually a culture shock because they're not making the same amount of money they used to up north. Or I shouldn't typically say that. The jump off the Monday, it's a culture shock every single Monday, and it kind of fucks with someone's head, and you're just like, man, what did I do? I didn't make this move. So we actually have a couple of transplants. We actually went through this right now. She's on her fleet. She's doing excellent. Linking up with the dispatcher, has a really good relationship. But this was a plan. We actually talked about this with her prior to onboarding. We spent some time together because, these are questions that there was concerns. It was almost like, she did have a little bit of hesitation, or did I make a mistake coming down to this Florida market, and not really thinking through. But again, it's not so much the market, it's also linking up with the right carriers. Because if you don't like the weather, it's because the money's right, and you bounce to Chicago, how long is that going to last, right? So that's why I say there's a couple more factors into it. As a business owner, everything has a cost now, right? So your decision making will have a price to it. So again, good question. Thank you, Lucas. We appreciate that. And again, so we keep pushing forward, guys. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. That's what this content's about. um, you know, and that's what this is about. Help this get in front of the right people. So help a brother out, and also smash that bell icon so you are notified when we drop gems just like this bad boy right here. All right. Okay, so the next one is: do you offer percentage? Subloom. Do you offer percentage pay or mile pay? If percentage, is it based on gross? Yes, absolutely. So guys, you always want to make sure that your dispatcher is always talking to you gross, right? You always want to talk gross numbers, because here's how we go. They really can't talk to you net, because the problem is, let's say a dispatcher has 5 trucks, right? Just as an example, everybody has a different cost. So I can't really discuss that net. MPG comes into place, insurance, truck costs, your daily, your weekly costs will vary from individual to individual. So guys, you need to understand that part. What is a better tactic is you understand what your cost is to your truck, to your insurance, to everything that's going to cost. So that is a better business plan. And now the actual dispatcher is talking always gross to you. So for example, I have mentioned in the last couple videos where some of our guys have leveled up their business, they're scaling it, and they were actually able to purchase their own trailer. So I got 3 individuals who actually did that in the last month or so. And what happens is they never had to change their dispatchers. They never had to do any of that, right? They just maintain status quo. They're always they're always given the gross number and nothing changes. There's no new behavior that has to happen other than in his mind, he knows he is now 85 instead of 75. Boom. That's it. Simple, easy. That's the way you want things. Trucking is complicated already. Just make sure you're aligned with individuals who understand it. So we got a comment here for Clinton. Yep. Break down your fixed costs and your variable costs to daily and per mile rate makes the picture very, very clear. Yeah, here we go. Amen to that. That's one of the biggest things. And guys, that's what that meeting is. So not a lot of guys know how to get there. So that's what we're talking about. Like, here we are. If you're becoming a first-time owner operator and you don't know all of these things, it's only hidden because nobody has explained it to you. So you haven't quite discovered it. But that's what you should be talking about when you're calling a carrier to see if you're going to onboard. That is where you should spend some of that time, right? Yes, searching for the truck is valuable, but don't just, trolling what trucks are for sale, all night, all day, looking for the perfect truck isn't all. It's not everything. It is a big portion of it, but it isn't everything. There's so much more that comes to trucking than just that, my people. Again, any questions? It is 863-342-5171. We are here to help out. We are looking for those first-time owner operators who are looking for some mentorship and want to link up with a carrier who knows what time it is and can get you to that next level. And also for my seasoned individuals, got plenty of trailers and available space on my dispatch team to help you guys out as well to scale your business. 863-342-5171. All right. So jumping back to my story. So these the teams, getting back to that, boom, we're pushing the truck. And now we talk about the pay, right? The most uncomfortable part, the part that we were saying that they said we will wing it, we will see, we'll figure it out. Well, once it comes to crunch time and it comes to pay the bill, you got a problem because you got this awkward silence of who's paying for that repair. And everybody got bills at home, everybody got rent, mortgage, and so forth, and responsibilities. And now comes the real cost to this project, right? So what actually ended up happening? Yep, you guessed it. My team has to split up. All right, and they split up because one guy wants to continue to get paid, and one guy, and there's still some maintenance on the truck. Luckily, the other individual had access to a different truck already, and we learned one of the biggest and hardest lessons was, you have to be able to whatever information is given to you, be honest with yourself to see if this is actually going to work. You cannot be forcing something, especially in this game called trucking, right? So number one. Actually, the discussion was about the truck. They should have bought something with a little bit better miles, a lot of TLC into this truck, this weekend project truck that was developing. So a lot of money spent there. Where could have they, started off the bat with two, rather than actually, having this costly fix where if the truck goes down, they're both down. Business is kind of shutting down. And it's not just that the business is going to need that cash flow, whatever it is that's coming in for, to keep the business alive, but there's two households to maintain. So that's a very, very difficult place to be. You're stuck between a rock and a hard place. So guys, that is why we said, like, if you're going to do this, I think one of the biggest thing is you fly solo. I think if you're going to risk the biscuit, as they say, if you're going to take this opportunity, this chance, you want to be the one in charge. You want to be able to be the decision maker, because there are so many variables you don't control. Doing this type of thing, in this case, worked out. We got actually two trucks. They're both thriving and doing very, very well, but it was close. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. It came close. And if they ever, wanted to be on the show and discuss it, they would agree with that. It was, if they could do it again, it would be done a little bit different. So the moral of that story was, actually, guys, if you're gonna do something like this, you got to be the guy in charge. You got to be controlling your variables. You have to maintain control. You have to come up with your plan. All right. So make sure you're getting that plan. Make sure you're discussing the plan with the carrier, and know the right things to ask. Um, and if not, make sure the carrier is bringing it up. Right. So here we go, guys. All right. Do I have access to the load board, or can I book my own freight? All right. So transparency in rates and booking does build trust, guys. That's for sure. But there has to be bigger. It's bigger than just that. And so what we like to teach is, if you've never dispatched, you've never been on the load boards, you don't really know what happens behind the scenes and what people are trying to protect if they're not giving you access to so forth, right? Because even though if you do get access, what's the point if you don't know what to do with it, right? So now it's a lot of responsibility. Not only the truck, your new business, you got bills, they're coming, new bills, responsibilities, all that, and plus now you got to book loads that you've never done before. So and again, I'm talking about these first time owner operators who who this is a new experience to them, right? So you want to there's a couple things that you can checks and balances, right? Trust but verify. Are you getting the original raycon? We talked about that. So if you are, now you can put yourself at ease that you know exactly that this is transparency. Now you can trust that, give some leverage, or give this guy a little bit of some freedom to be able to move your truck around, to be able to actually come up with what we're going to do this week in order to hit your financial goal. Because a lot of times, guys, trucking is a moving target, right? So you have to adapt. It's not necessarily that the market went through this increase, like a dramatic rate change overnight, but there's breakdowns, there's detention, there's incidents, accidents. God forbid. I hope everybody out there is being safe and none of that's happening to you. You got delayed at a shipper, at a receiver, canceled loads, you name it. The laundry list goes on and on. And now the difference is, that you're responsible as an owner operator. This last time you were kind of part of it, but this time it's different because you're paying the bill. You still have the heightened responsibilities that came along with becoming an owner operator. So the solutions have to be different. Before, you just had to rely on, company guy, hey man, they're gonna fix it, and that's it. Now you got to be part of that solution. You're actively involved, you're managing. And so because this is happening, this is where, when you're meeting carriers just like us, guys, that's why we have our open door policy. Come on through 9 to 4. We are located in Mulberry, right next to Lakeland, the mecca of trucking, 3180 Mulford Road in Mulberry, 33860. Feel free to stop by. We'll show you the sample settlement sheets, settlement statements. Dispatch can talk to you, ops can talk to you, maintenance. And the beauty about it is we spend some time together, working through your plan, working what what are your ideas? What is it that you're thinking of doing? And what can that idea yield me? What type of opportunity is that going to give me? And I'd like to kind of have a clear cut picture. Well, that's what we do best. So do not hesitate. 863-342-5171. Guys, make sure you give us a call. Let's get that going. And then and we go from there. All right. So a few more questions that we should be going through in order for you to make sure that you're devising your proper plan. You're asking the right questions so you can gauge the temperature of the carrier, how much they're willing to work with you, and so forth. Can I audit and review my settlements with accounting if I have questions? Open door accounting policies is a must. We have it. If they don't have it, you're in the wrong spot, guys. You want to be able to actually have access to these people. And part of what we do on our orientation is our team, they actually do their part in orientation, right? So you get to put a face to a name from that department, you get this major opportunity right there to make a connection, so that when you do have a question, you're calling a familiar face. You're not actually calling someone you've never talked to. All it is on extension 206. No, no, no. You already had an actual rapport with them, and so forth. So why is that king? The reason that that is so important is because it makes people accountable, right? So imagine you've never met this department that isn't even out of the location that you're doing orientation with, right? And I get it. There's mega carriers out there that maybe perhaps they can't do that and all that, but we're talking about becoming an owner operator. We're talking about the tools that you need. We're talking about how you digest if this carrier is going to be the right place for you or is not. So what we're sharing is these small little tactics that are important, and they go a very long way as you are learning the business, because that is what's new to you. You want to have access to fix your problems that are going to be coming up. Will there be mistakes? Yeah. Why? Because you're new at this. And it's trucking. Trucking happens. It happens here. Trucking is going to happen there. It's about how you react to these issues that are happening, guys. That is the secret sauce to this trucking game. All right. All right. So support, maintenance, and responsibility. This is so important to talk about, not just what type of truck you're buying or what color it is or how much chrome it got. Like, there is so much more to talk about. So who pays for maintenance, tolls, and breakdowns, right? Are there in-house repair and deductions? Make sure repairs aren't marked up or enforced. So yes, this comes in so many shapes and sizes, guys. Like, some people actually, hold may have the best pass for you, right? And then they're deducted with a fee. That's why we say you get your own best pass and avoid that additional fee. Why incur additional costs? Not only that, in the maintenance. So that is your truck. So what type of maintenance program are you going to put on your truck? If the carrier does offer a shop, some places do. What kind of pricing are you getting? Do you have to maintain your truck there? What if you don't like that mechanic? You just kind of feel that he's not really doing the preventive maintenance. It's kind of reactive. Is that another vertical for that business to just make money off of you? Although presented as easy, presented as convenient, is that really something that you might be looking for and that you need? So I will share, we have a trailer mechanic. He has done some stuff for our guys, bolt on, bolt off type stuff. We don't go too deep into a major repair or anything like that. Nothing electrical, just because my guy is not that. And I rather my guy have, my owner operator find that mechanic that is going to be diligent, and it comes with that guarantee, right? So we got to know our strengths. We got to know our weaknesses. Preservation of our business relationship is going to be monumental. And so these are the small things that matter in everything that we do in order to be successful, right? So that is monumental. Do I have to use your insurance, or can I bring my own? Right? So flexibility is good. You want to pay attention to that, because what that shows you is that they're not using certain perks or certain things as a vehicle to actually make more money. It's there if you need it, and some people choose to use it and some people don't. So for example, for us, the liability and cargo is part of the package deal. We make it real convenient. We make it nice and easy, especially for my first time owner operators and even my seasoned guys. There's no additional charges for any of that. So that's part of the package deal. Okay. And what that comes with, so you do have to bring that physical damage and your bobtail to the table, and we will help you get some quotes. So we're going to go across a couple platforms, show you different places that you can get different quotes, and feel free to also contact whatever resources you may have. So all that you're really doing is lining up your quotes, seeing which one best fits your business needs. Some require down payments, some don't, some are more, some are less. So not cheaper is better. Do they even pay on claims, or how long do they take to pay? So all of these things is you have to pick, or you have to consider. As a matter of fact, at the end of the day, it is your choice. So you'll have the quotes in front of you. As a matter of fact, we walk out of the room and come back and say which one you're taking. right? So that is up to you guys. Just be careful when you jump on. So let me explain to my first time owner operators. Let's say an insurance carrier is offering you the insurance and you take it because it's easy and so forth. You don't necessarily have to do that. Um, most people say, hey, but it's cheaper. But how do you know? How do you know if you have not shopped around? How do you know if you don't have comparables? So in order to know, just like my guy who has to call around on the spot market to find out what loads are paying, you got to be able to shop around and get some quotes in order to find out if that's good. So remember, I'm not telling anybody to job hop. That's not what my thing is. But what I am saying is if you had to move that truck for whatever reason, now that insurance is gone. So now you find yourself shopping for new insurance. So just because a carrier offers it doesn't mean it's the best deal for you, right? So you have to consider these things. That is one of the things that I would suggest that you actually get on your own is your physical damage and your bobtail, so that you're never stuck without insurance. You're the person in charge of paying that bill every single month. Like how hard is that? Just like you pay the electricity or mortgage or whatever. You send one payment, you're good to go. You're always going to be within compliance. So, and again, in this day and age, there's a lot of carriers that are out there. Insurance today, no insurance tomorrow, and now you're stuck. So, guys, rein in you can take some control of certain things that don't really require that much experience. That being one of them, right? So, pay attention to that. That's so important, and make sure you're asking these type of questions with that carrier. So, if they're not answering just like that, giving you the good, the bad, and the ugly about it, you're actually asking the wrong people. 863-342-5171. Give us a call. That's what we do best, is share content and information, and like, share, subscribe, and please smash that like button. It helps the algorithm get this content right in front of the right people. Here we go. All right. All right. So if anybody has additional questions, please put them up. We'd like to hear from you. Put them up in the comments. And remember, what we do is gather questions across our multimedia platforms and answer them at 9 a.m. Monday to Friday. So please make sure you're asking the questions, and we will get to them. So here we go. If I use your trailer, what's the maintenance policy? Yes. This is, my people, one of the biggest things that you have to be able to understand, and how the program works up front, because this comes in so many shapes, so many sizes, and it can either end very well or it can end very not so well. All right. So the way we do it, easy peasy, nice and transparent, perfect way to do it for that first time owner operator. It's hands down one of the best trailer programs ever. So here's how it works, right? Trailers, never older than 5 years old. $50 a week covers brakes, tires, anything maintenance related is covered under that program. That is designed to be simple and for you to win. All right. There is no trailer rental fee. All right. So that's not going down. There's no additional cost. So as long as you're communicating accordingly, we actually let all our owner operators know exactly how the program works and how the communication has to work. In orientation, they actually meet a safety and mechanic guy who is out there to implement and work the program. So that you keep us notified on the condition of this trailer. On every pre-trip morning, you see something, say something. That is the best way to avoid any kind of deductions, right? In other places, yes, I've even seen some of my guys have seen other programs where you rent to own somewhere. Do you even make it to the end of that rental? Right? How much are you paying on a weekly basis for that bad boy, and who is paying for that maintenance? Right? That's one of the biggest hurdles. So if not only you are going to be paying for the rental of this bad boy, right? Now you're also paying for the maintenance. So let me tell you what happens next if you decide to jump ship and you're going to go somewhere else, right? So what's going to happen at that point, you're going to be responsible for that wear and tear. So you are actually going to have a bill at the end of that trailer. So check this out. We actually had an individual, everything looked good. He's excited about joining the team. So he's going to come through. And then unfortunately, there was a major halt in his business plan. And what happened is, man, I got to sneeze. And what happened is the reason he had to change his plan was actually because he couldn't afford it. So what does that mean? Hold on. That actually means when he was considering it, he went in and they said, all right, you're going to need tires, brakes, and they kind of went down the line item with him, explaining to that person that all this stuff has been wear and tear. So a total bill of like 5 G's to just give the trailer back and go. So financially, he wasn't in the position to be able to pay that to leave. Because remember, guys, anytime you go from one carrier to the other, remember, as a business owner, it costs you money. So you don't want to be that job hopper. You don't want to be going from one place to another to another. You got to really identify why you're leaving, right? What's not working out? What key points are not working? And how can they get fixed? Because if you go through 3 companies and it's always the same shit and it's always that, like, so maybe there's something else that's not working in that formula. Perhaps you haven't had the right conversation with the right people. So if something is not working out for you right now, 863-342-5171, give us a call. Getting back to what my guy was saying. So $5,000 actually prevented him from moving his truck. Now I ask, is that coincidence? Is that strategy? Well, once you're renting these bad boys, it's obvious you're going to be responsible for the maintenance. So that's just business as usual, right? But at the same time, doing that upkeep is going to be monumental to your success. So whether it's your truck or your trailer, guys, like you gotta be doing that maintenance and have that maintenance reserve to ensure that, to avoid breakdowns as much as possible. Yes, you can never eliminate them 100%. They will happen. It's just a matter, are you ready? Are you prepared? To lessen the blow, to lessen the pain, to lessen the time down. That is the key. And that's all the stuff that should be built into your business plan. That is everything you should be talking about when you call a carrier. Like, what do you suggest I do when I do this? And if again, you get awkward silence, and that's not the place. If they can't coach you through that kind of stuff before you even buy your truck and what it would look like if you actually operated here, then maybe that's not the place you want to be, because that's not going to change when you do have your truck. Will you be high and dry without any kind of recourse for you to improve your business and be better? Going back to my teams that actually split and now they each have their own truck. I think through that mentorship, through that connection we had as business to business, able to shoot ideas back and forth, it developed the trust. And in that trust, it developed, 2 trucks to be on here. Because if not, if we just agreed that it was a great idea from the beginning and we were just yes sirs and okay, would we have seen the real facts of why that didn't work out? Or would we have easily blamed the market? We would have blamed the rates. We would have blamed this and that, anything but the real problem. So, you need transparency, and you need to be able to handle the transparency. All right. Because not all the time do we all have the best ideas, and that's across the board. So it doesn't, so keep that in mind, guys. If you've never been a first time owner operator, that's what you should be seeking. That carrier that is actually going to do that for you, talk business with you, talk what matters, be transparent so that you can be successful. Okay. Can I get a lease agreement in advance to review before signing? Walk away if they refuse. I don't know. Yeah, I've done it. I'm not gonna lie here. I've done that. Yeah, I mean, here's what I do. Actually, I invite anybody to come on in, sit in my conference room as long as you want to view it. Have I given it out? Yeah. My only concern is, if somebody takes it and then signs off on it to try to do an IRP. I guess I don't know. I guess that's me being burnt a little bit by stuff that has happened. But again, individual can come in. We flash it before you even get started, right? You want to come in and review it, not a problem actually. So that's no big deal. Uh, you want to be able to ask, is there a termination notice or penalty if you leave? um Again, yeah, but just be cautious with that, because your plan isn't to leave. Your plan isn't to terminate the contract. Your plan is to be successful, right? And once you're planning to be successful, I'm not saying that we shouldn't talk like this, but at the same time, you got to know that everybody's running a business. You got to know that it's going to cost you money. It's going to cost the individual you're working with money. It's uh, Realist 282. Can you pick your own loads? No, sir. You work with your dispatcher, and then that's how you guys actually work out the plan. So just let them know what your home time is. You do have that learning curve to get to know each other, but once you do, the idea is that the dispatcher and yourself build that relationship where he knows exactly your parameters, exactly how you run. We're checking the credit. We're reading for predatory verbiage on that Raycon, and then that's how we're moving that truck. So yeah, if you live in Florida, yeah, for sure, you get home on the weekends. Plenty of guys that do get home on the weekends. That's not a problem. And you can adapt. So let's say, that's the beauty of it. You could scale your business, or you could change things a little bit. We've had people who actually who uh who were doing what you're doing home on the weekends, all of a sudden had a little bit of let's say a project at the house and needed a little bit of dough. What they did was they let the dispatcher, hey, keep me out for 2-3 weeks, I need to save up some money, boom, and then bring it right back. So that's the beauty. We customize that dispatch right around your needs. And so if you are around Florida, that's the perfect opportunity. You're probably swinging through Lakeland at any given time, brother, man, stop by, and then we sit down and chop it up, and hopefully we could do some business. So here we go. To Mike's point, yes, we are we do have the shortest contract in the industry. Right, it's simple, to the point, and shows accountability. Uh, so you're only an hour from Lakeland. Here you go. Absolutely, stop by. We got plenty of parking in the back. We have plenty of parking in the back. So if you're actually heading home or to a load and you got some time, feel free to do so. Plenty of guys have done that in the past. All right. How are disputes handled? Do you have a point of contact for financial questions? Look for clear procedures and yeah. So disputes are, I don't even want to call them disputes, man. What it really is just we're in trucking, and trucking has problems. And trucking has mistakes, and trucking, it involves a lot of people. And again, so at the end of the day, man, we're in the people business, right? So being in this people business, you got to know how to manage it. You got to have the team behind you that understands that, and how to get results. So you're looking for results driven individuals to be supporting your trucking company, right? And then that's what we do here. So for us, whether it's from the billing, that's why you're going to get pressed up front for clear pictures of signed, let's say, BOLs and all that good stuff. Why? Because nobody here, it has nothing to do, and that sounds kind of good. We are dwelling to solve disputes. So what we're doing here is exactly that. So it's the same problems over and over again. So you just got to build your policies and procedures in order to avoid them in the first place, because it's almost like it's the same one over and over again. And what we want is, for the success, it has to, we can tackle these things. We're results driven. That billing department will call you, hey, I can't read this. But if she can't read it, she already knows what time it is. She's been doing this for a long time. So if the broker ain't going to pay, why are we doing that to ourselves? Just get the new picture up. Why? Because that's the solution. I'm not here to argue what app is better. I'm not here to argue like maybe you can or can't read it. So it's not really about about that. It's about being successful. So hold up one second here. So even when it comes to the safety and the compliance portion of it, all of that is part of the program. How to keep your business moving, how to keep it going. Matt, can you let Luna out? Or Mike, I don't know if you're here yet. Somebody could let Luna out, please. She's struggling over there. She's my co-host. So again, those procedures and financially, man, like the lumpers, right? You're told even on the dispatch, make sure you're asking for this. You're asking for that. The timely fashion you hand things in. What it means on even if it comes to getting charged, right? For those, let's say a tire, right? So how do you get there? Like, right? So pre-trip, send communication, look at the wear and tear on this bad boy. Or did you talk to the mechanic, or are you leaving it just for discovery when you return the trailer? So all of these things is trucking. All of these things do happen, and that's why we operate in our policies and procedures are built a certain way to keep it simple, to keep it easy, and to keep you moving. That's it. Trucking in itself, at the end of the day, is not even that hard. It's really more about just making sure that we're in the right mind frame, that you got the right team behind you, and we push forward. All right, so Realist, you got a 2014. Here we go, man. Welcome aboard already. So please feel free to stop by and or give us a call, 863-342-5171 for sure. All right, my people, it is creeping up. It is about that time. Got to get to my day job. Please let me know in the comments anything that you think should be addressed, should be covered, that we could talk about on the show. All comments are welcome. Remember, if it's not YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, whatever the platform may be, please put them up. We will get to them. If they weren't addressed here on the show, we will get to them. So tune in tomorrow, 9 a.m., same time, and we will address any kind of issues that are going on and also answer all these questions. So once again, for my people who are first-time owner operators who are looking for the right place, the right carrier that knows what time it is and can help them get started because they got questions that no one is answering, 863-342-5171. And for all my seasoned individuals who know exactly what it takes to be successful, we are the place to be. 863-342-5171. So hopefully everybody is getting started to their week. Be safe, drive safe. Remember your goals. Make sure you keep them going. Remember, we got to check in on a Wednesday to make sure that you're in line to make those goals, so that you can make this bad boy worth it. All right, guys. So without further ado, do I have any more comments, any more questions? Let us know. All right. All right, my people. Please be safe. Stay safe out there. Keep earning. Remember, and if your dispatch team isn't quite making it, give us a call at 863-342-5171. We're here to help out. All right. So here we go. Plenty of successful stories right here in-house under this roof for owner operators. And so why don't you become part of that success story? All right, my people. Be safe, drive safe. We'll talk soon.